Vintage radio collectors. This is a Stewart-Warner R535 radio. It's a Canadian model, and I've been working on it, and it's one of these ones that just seem to take an awful lot of work to get going. I'll just show you what I mean here. I've changed out all the wax caps, put in a terminal board here to put new electrolytics on. The biggest issue with this radio was the rubber wiring, and it was filled with it. And soldering rubber wiring is like soldering cornflakes, it's just not that great. So that's the B plus line here. All but one were changed, and one was still pliable, and it was in an area where it wasn't even any kind of a high voltage. All the power resistors have been changed, and they are basically turning to charcoal. You can actually see a bit of a blackness around here. One of these here. This one here must have been pouring a bit of smoke out. It's a 50 ohm. It had a mix of caps in it. These here. The restoration work had been partially started with some new caps. But this is one of these radios that you just got to change so many things. It's not what needs to be changed, it's what doesn't need to be changed. And then so you get it working and you got to tweak. And one problem I found here, the 12SQ7, there's a crack in the tube socket, and I didn't have, this is these wafer sockets which are very prone to cracking. I didn't have one exactly like it, and it's in very close proximity to the 35 or 50 L6, depending which you use in the radio. New polarized cord on it. Let's just turn it around here. See the front, standard 4-inch speaker. Kind of a nice Bakelite case done in white. So let's try it out here. One of the mods that I do on these is the B- line was switched, which isn't a good idea. It means that the chassis is always semi-hot, even with an isolation capacitor. Let's put this, I had this flipped over so it wouldn't get bent. New bulb in there. It's like a nightlight bulb in this. I just have about 5 feet of wire here. I'm going to turn off this LED lamp. It makes noise so we can hear it.
For the rush. My sons are 21 and 20.
I guess AM 1010 from Toronto. One of the things with AM radios these days, just on the other side of this wall is my modem set up, and I have a high-powered router, and that causes interference. Across the street are power lines, and then LED lighting causes interference. This one works pretty good.
Before you guys started your conversation. Radio on 1150 AM.
Then we're at the top of the dial. So it's working actually quite well. That tube socket that I epoxied should hold up. I do have a Bakelite tube socket I put in there, but it's too wide, so that wouldn't work. This IF can here was open, and what I found was I just gave a little tug on the lead and it came right out of the can. Broken solder joint. So you can actually take the lid off the can and fix that, so that was pretty easy. But the important thing is to fix the B- line, like create a bus throughout the unit, and then switch the AC line. I'm just going to show you here. This is pretty common. The wide one is neutral, this one is hot. So this radio here, with this plug into a properly wired outlet, there is no chance of getting a shock off the chassis. And even if it was hooked up wrong, I have a big isolation, a 600 volt isolation polystyrene capacitor on here. Maybe half a volt leaks through, so it's very unlikely you would ever be harmed. So I'm going to put it together. I'm fixing this one for a friend, and at first I didn't think I could get it playing. It needed so much work, But and actually, just to let you know, it doesn't look like a lot of parts, but with the rubber wiring, I've got 11 hours in this one now. So this is kind of like these radios are a labor of love, I guess. Anyway, thanks for watching and listening.